When I think about cultivating a thriving arts ecosystem, I guess the first thing that I thought about when I read that title is the need to support artists, to encourage artists, and to give more inclusivity and diversity to the art scene, um, probably all over the country, but definitely here in Seattle. So, being supportive of artists is probably the thing that I associate most with the title Arts Ecosystem, Cultivating an Arts Ecosystem. The most important thing to me as an artist is to illuminate and elevate my culture, African American culture. And I do that in a couple of ways. Usually, my stories and even my novel, Keep Living, has more to do with the historical aspect of Black history, whereas my plays are more contemporary and I get to deal with a lot of the contemporary things that are going on in the Black community right now. And what I'm always trying to do is to change how people think. So often people look at the Black community with this unconscious bias that a lot of people don't even realize that they have. And so when I can force them to look at how that unconscious bias has influenced the history of Black people in this country, then I can hope to change the way that they think. And as I said, that's the most important thing to me is just to elevate my culture, change how people think, and then hopefully those people, particularly the dominant culture, white people, will go out and influence their community about the changes that people really need to make when they're thinking about African American culture. I would describe my experience of being an artist in Seattle kind of like it's the best of times and the worst of times. I've been very fortunate. I think I've grown a lot as an artist since I moved to Seattle like 20 years ago. And I've been very fortunate to have a lot of people support me just because either they like my work or are trying to help me to get my message out. But it's also difficult as an artist here in Seattle because quite often when the majority audience sees that there is a play with a Black theme, they don't come out and support. I think in the way that Black people come out and support white themed art. And also, in terms of funding, I've been fortunate again to get some grants, but I might get a small grant that's really not enough to be able to pay the people who are supporting me and the people who I need to support me to bring a play to fruition, to get it on the stage. And so that's difficult because I feel like it's just not sustainable. We don't support Black artists in a way that's sustainable. I might get a grant one year and then I might not get it again for several years or ever. And so it's kind of hard to stay on an even keel as an artist. It's kind of like highs and lows, which is why I say I think it's the best of times and the worst of times. Probably the thing that I have the most problems with is marketing. I'm an artist. I wish I had somebody to take over the business of art so that I could just focus on creating the art. But after it's created, then you have to get an audience and you have to get flyers and you have to get, and I've been fortunate in that way that I've been in partnership with Tyrone Brown for the past 20 years plus. And he takes a lot of that off of my shoulders, but it's still, I mean, for instance, my novel, Keep a Living, is just coming out. And like I said, it took me 20 years to write it. And then 3 or 4 years of rejections trying to get a publisher for it. And now it's about to come out on April 2nd, and I still have to get it to somebody. I have to get it in the right hands. I have to market it. And I actually am fortunate that I am in a cohort, a debut authors cohort that's sponsored by Poets and Writers magazine. And we work with a publicist who gives us all these ideas about how to market our book. And I swear I could just do that for probably the rest of my life and never have time to write another thing. It's overwhelming and it's all consuming just to market and get out what I've created. It's First of all, I was very surprised when I found out that I was going to be a part of this, and I'm absolutely honored. I'm honored to even be on Seattle University's campus because it's such a prestigious university and such a respected part of this community. I always feel like when I go to Seattle University, I'm like hanging out with the big boys, or because it's the thing that I love about Seattle University is that it's still in the heart of the community. It's near Capitol Hill and the Central District, two communities that I really love in Seattle. So, yeah, I am so honored to be a part of this program in particular, the Leadership Arts Program, because I know a few people who have graduated from that program, and they're all just stellar individuals in their field. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. I love it. Thank you for listening to my thoughts about this Arts Leadership Symposium, Cultivating a Thriving Arts Ecosystem, presented by Seattle University. It has been such a pleasure to be a part of all of this, and thank you. Actually, most of the time I read on the toilet. And I just hold the book and I read. I just read my first book online, like an ebook. Not nearly as satisfying as holding a paper book in my hand.